A small room behind the infirmary. Whitewashed walls. One window kept high. A table planed smooth and re-smooth again. The plantation medical office. Registered under the agricultural accounts. Supplied through quarterly requisitions. On the table. Calipers. Brass. Graduated. Intended for livestock inspections. They do not belong here. A ledger rests nearby. Bound in cracked leather. Pages ruled by hand. Columns were pre-labeled before any entry was made. Weight. Height. Age. Opening parenthesis estimated. Closing parenthesis. Notes. Another column appears later. Added after printing. Its heading is written in a different ink. Cranial circumference. The measurement protocol is ordinary. Recorded elsewhere. Filed under medical routine. The room is quiet except for notation. Scratching. Pause. Correction. The system authorizing the procedure predates the room. Plantation health oversight. Designed to preserve labor value. Not comfort. An inventory system. Applied to bodies. The calipers are adjusted. Open. Closed. Reset to 0. This step is repeated. Always repeated. Two subjects are entered sequentially. No names. Only numbers. Item A, item B. Their classification precedes their presence. They are already assigned a function. The ledger does not record resistance. No column for it. A line is drawn to separate entries. Not because the procedure ends, but because the page does. The plantation physician is not named here. His authority is implicit. Licensed through state approval. Accountable to the estate. Medical expenses are deducted annually. The ledger references this on the inside cover. Ink smudges indicate repeated consultation. The calipers are applied again. The angle is adjusted. The measurement is taken twice. A discrepancy of 3 millimeters. Noted. Circled. No. Explanation follows. The room contains another object. A child's bench, short, repaired often. It does not appear in requisitions. The procedure continues. Outside. Routine plantation operations proceed. Listed separately. Harvest schedules. Tool maintenance. Rations. This room is part of that system. The ledger uses consistent handwriting. Except for the added column, that heading appears in 3 other ledgers, filed under different estates. Same hand, those volumes remain restricted. The measurement requires stillness. Stillness is assumed. The physician notes compliance. The word is abbreviated. No duration is recorded. Only completion. A second instrument is introduced. A measuring tape. Cloth, marked in inches. It brushes the temple. Then the occipital ridge. The tape is replaced. The calipers return. The repetition suggests verification, not curiosity. A clerk initials the margin. He does not sign the entry. The institution allows delegation. Authority disperses responsibility. Another page. Another set of columns. The second subject is recorded beneath the first. The spacing is precise. Age estimated. Differs by 1 year. Height differs by less than an inch. Cranial measurement differs more than expected. The ledger does not remark on this. Instead, a symbol is added. A small mark. Used elsewhere in the book, its meaning is not explained here. Later. Cross-referencing suggests categorization. The room contains no mirror. A medical manual lies open on a shelf. Its margins are annotated. References to European texts. Those passages are underlined. The system values correspondence. Deviation requires justification. No justification is written. The calipers are cleaned. Wiped with alcohol. Returned to their case. The case is labeled incorrectly. Livestock tools. This mislabeling persists in inventory. Records. The plantation's annual report includes a line item for special examinations. No further detail. Such reports are aggregated at the county level. County summaries omit subcategories. The ledger page is numbered. The numbering skips once a page has been removed. The binding shows stress at that point. The clerk does not remark on it. He moves on. The physician's handwriting appears again. In the margin, a brief note. Repeat at maturity. No date is attached. The instruction assumes continuity. The subjects are expected to remain available. This assumption is embedded. The institution requires it. Elsewhere in the ledger, similar notes appear. Different measurements. Different estates. They are not cross-referenced publicly. Their files from this period remain sealed. The room is used for inoculations, for wound treatment. For inspection, this procedure is filed under inspection. The distinction matters. Administratively, inspection reports are archived longer. The calipers return to the table. Another adjustment. The physician checks alignment. The ledger page is nearly full. The clerk prepares to turn it before doing so. He adds a final notation. Abbreviated. Standardized. Specimens consistent. The word specimen appears rarely. Used sparingly, its presence here is unremarked. The system allows terminology drift. As long as totals reconcile outside the room, the plantation bell marks the hour. Timekeeping is precise. The procedure does not pause. The clerk's ink runs low. He shakes the pen. A blot forms near the measurement column. It obscures a digit. The physician rewrites it beside the blot. No correction mark is added. Accuracy is assumed through authority. The ledger closes briefly, then opens again. A new form is inserted. Loose. Its header bears a state seal. The form requests data. Cranial capacity. Comparative notes. The physician does not fill it. Yet. He aligns it with the ledger. The measurements correspond. This alignment is intentional. The form will travel. Destination not listed. The institution handling receipt does not appear in plantation records. Such omissions are common. They indicate external review. The calipers are applied once more. The physician pauses. He checks the manual. Then the ledger. Then the form. Consistency achieved. The clerk writes, complete. He does not close the file. He marks it for continuation. A ribbon is placed between pages. The color signifies pending review. This color appears elsewhere in the archive. This was not the last record of its kind. The room is cleared. The bench remains. The calipers rest in their case. The ledger is returned to its shelf. The shelf holds many volumes. Some are labeled. Some are not. The procedure is scheduled to resume. The physician notes the next step, measurement at a later stage. Conditions unchanged. The sentence trails off as the pen lifts. The ledger is reopened before sunrise. Same shelf. Same order. Morning entries begin with weather. Humidity. Temperature. Noted for crop yield. The medical section follows. A stamp appears on the new page. County Health Registry. Faded at the edges. This stamp authorizes data collection, not interpretation. The institution separates those functions. The loose form inserted earlier is now affixed, threaded through the binding. Not glued. Temporary inclusion. A column labeled comparative reference appears. Left blank. The physician sharpens a pencil. He does not use it yet. The procedure resumes with preparation. Instruments laid out in sequence. Order matters. Calipers first, tape second. Manual third. The manual is open to a marked page. Dog-eared. Stained. The text describes proportional norms. Based on samples. Origin unspecified. A footnote references a European academy. No date. The academy no longer exists. The plantation health system accepts obsolete authorities. As long as they are written, the subjects are brought in separately. This is implied by spacing. The ledger leaves room between entries. No escort is listed. Security is assumed. The physician notes posture only as adequate. No correction is needed. The calipers are positioned. Forehead to rear, the physician checks alignment twice. A new notation appears. Frontal prominence. The term is underlined. The manual defines it vaguely. As a tendency, the physician records a number. The clerk pauses. The pause is visible in the ink. He asks for confirmation. This is implied by a repeated digit. The physician nods. This is not recorded. The number stands. The second subject is measured. The same steps. Same order. A slight variation in tape placement. Corrected. The ledger shows erasure marks. They are faint. The physician adds another note. Deviation with intolerance. Tolerance is not defined. The county registry form requires a category selection. 3 options. Normal. Variant. Exceptional. The physician hesitates. The hesitation is inferred. The pencil mark appears. Then disappears. Ink is used instead. Variant. The clerk initials again. Initials recur throughout the volume. Always the same. The clerk is an institutional constant. His name appears nowhere. The plantation's annual report will summarize this as medical observation. No further detail. Such summaries feed into state-level tables. Those tables aggregation, removes anomaly. The physician consults the manual again. He reads a passage aloud. This is not transcribed. The clerk waits. Waiting is part of procedure. The physician writes a marginal note. Relevance to capacity. Capacity of what is not stated. The ledger does not ask. The system presumes shared. Understanding. A second loose form is introduced, smaller, printed on cheaper paper. Its header references a private society, not a government body. The society's name is abbreviated. The abbreviation appears in other ledgers. Those ledgers are housed elsewhere. Access requires permission. The form requests anonymized. Data, anonymity is defined as absence of names. Numbers suffice. The physician copies measurements carefully. The clerk watches. Accuracy. Here matters more. The form will leave the plantation. Transportation is arranged monthly. Bundles of documents, tied with string. Destinations. Receipts are rarely returned. The system tolerates this loss. The physician adds a final observation. Consistent with type. Type is undefined. The manual uses the term frequently. Its definition shifts by chapter. The ledger does not reconcile these shifts. Consistency is assumed through repetition. The subjects are dismissed. This is implied by the next entry. Instruments cleaned. Alcohol again. The calipers are dried. The tape is folded. The manual is closed. A bookmark remains. The physician records time elapsed. Less than expected. Efficiency is noted approvingly. The county registry stamp appears again. This time on the loose form, stamped twice. One stamp is inverted. This inversion appears in other records. It indicates provisional status. Provisional files are reviewed. Later. Later often means years. A note is added at the bottom of the page. Follow comparative guidelines. No guidelines are attached. The clerk leaves space. Space implies future entry. The ledger page ends. Mid-column. The next page begins with a different hand. The physician has taken the pen. His handwriting is less regular. Authority does not require neatness. He writes a sentence fragment. Observed cranial. The line stops, ink trails off, the fragment is not crossed out. Got it. Remains. Such fragments appear throughout the volume. They suggest interruptions. Interruptions are not explained. The plantation bell rings again. Time advances. The physician writes a date, not the full date. Only the day, month, and year are pre-printed. This format standardizes chronology. The next procedure is listed. Measurement deferred. No reason given. Deferred procedures accumulate. A later index references them. Collectively, the index is compiled at years. And entries like this are grouped. Grouped entries lose specificity. The physician signs the page. Signature is abbreviated. Full credentials are on file elsewhere. Those files require separate access. The clerk closes the ledger. He ties a ribbon around it. Color-coded. This color indicates external interest. Such interest fluctuates. At times it intensifies. At times it fades. The plantation continues. Operations regardless. The medical office remains open. Other examinations occurred. Vaccinations. Injuries. Inspections. This procedure is filed among them. No special marking. The loose forms are stacked. Their edges are uneven. Some are thicker. This suggests additional attachments. Attachments are not visible here. They travel separately. The clerk records. Dispatch. Destination omitted. This omission is systematic. Other files from this network show similar gaps. The ledger is returned to its shelf. Dust accumulates quickly. Cleaning schedules prioritize other rooms. The medical office is cleaned. Monthly. Records are not. They age in place. Ink fades. Paper yellows. Meanings persist. The last entry on the page reads, pending comparative review. Continue. The word continue is underlined. The next page is turned. The pen is lifted. The first stroke of the following entry begins, then stops mid-line. The next page begins without a header. Only columns. The clerk redraws the lines by hand. Ruler. Ink. This indicates a supplemental section. Supplemental sections are not indexed. The county registry stamp does not appear here. Instead, a different mark. Embossed. Faint. A private seal. The institution behind it does not publish. Reports. Membership is invitation-based. The physician writes at the top of the page. Continuation. No reference to what is continued. The system assumes traceability. The measurements resume. Same instruments. Same order. Calipers calibrated again. Calibration is noted. The note is identical to previous ones. Copied. Repetition confirms legitimacy. A new column is added in the margin. Narrow. Unlabeled at first. Entries appear anyway. Small marks. Symbols. They correspond to a key. The key is not in this ledger. Elsewhere. Similar symbols appear. Those volumes are held under restricted access. The physician records. Cranial length again. Numbers are slightly different. Growth is assumed. Growth is not discussed. The manual references. Developmental curves. Those curves are based on different populations. The discrepancy is not addressed. The physician notes progression. Progression toward what is unstated. The clerk hesitates before writing. Hesitation appears as a smudge. He corrects it neatly. Neatness restores authority. The second subject is measured. The same progression was noted, but the symbol differs only slightly. Added. Dots elsewhere indicate subcategory. Subcategories multiply silently. The plantation ledger absorbs them. The physician introduces a new procedure. Palpation. This is not listed in the manuals. Table of contents. It appears in an appendix. The appendix is marked experimental. Experimental procedures require consent. Consent is not recorded. The system allows omission when subjects are classified as property. This classification appears in a separate ledger, cross-ledger. Reference is implied by page numbers. Those numbers correspond. The physician presses along the skull. Pressure points noted. Not pain. Just respond. The response is marked as present. Absent would require explanation. Present does not. The clerk records quickly. Speed suggests familiarity. This is not the first time. Other files from neighboring estates show similar entries. Dates overlap. Coordination is implied. A letter is inserted between pages. Folded. Sealed. Once. The seal is broken. The letterhead bears an academic crest. No address. The letter references useful consistencies. No data included. The physician reads it. He does not copy it. Instead, he adds a marginal note. Aligned. Alignment is valued. The system rewards alignment. The next column receives a heading. Written now. Capacity index. The term does not appear in standard manuals. It appears in correspondence. Private correspondence. The index is calculated. How is not shown. Only the result. Number with 2 decimals. Precision implies rigor. The clerk underlines it. Underlining appears rarely. It indicates emphasis for later. Review. Later reviews are conducted off-site. Repertoire return summarized. Summaries omit raw data. The physician records comparative notes. Lower than reference. Reference to what is not specified. The manual's reference tables differ by addition. Addition is not recorded. Ambiguity is tolerated. The second subject's index is recorded, slightly different. The physician circles it. Circling indicates anomaly. Anomalies trigger correspondence. Correspondence is slow. Months pass between letters. The ledger does not track time gaps. Entries appear sequential. Time collapses. The plantation bell rings again. Another day implied. The clerk adds a date stamp not aligned with previous entries. This misalignment appears elsewhere. It suggests retroactive recording. Retroactive recording is permitted. The physician signs again. Same abbreviated signature. Consistency maintained. A new loose form is added. This one bears a governmental watermark. Different department. Education. The form requests anonymized data for instructional purposes. The physician fills only part of it. He leaves the section labeled ethical considerations. Blank. Sections are allowed. The clerk initials the margin to indicate awareness. Awareness. Substitutes for completion. The form is folded. Set aside. Not attached yet. Its presence suggests future use. The measurements continue. Repetition dulls attention. That is its function. The physician repeats palpation. Notes unchanged. Unchanged is reassuring. Stability supports. Classification. The ledger accumulates weight. Pages thicken. The shelf sags slightly. No maintenance record. Notes this. Maintenance focuses on production areas. The medical office persists as auxiliary. Records are often overlooked. This allows detail to remain. The clerk pauses to sharpen his pen. A small knife is used. Sharpening shavings fall onto the page. They are brushed away. Some marks remain. These marks appear decades later as artifacts. Archivists note them. They do not interpret. The physician writes a longer note, still fragmented. Correlation suggests the line stops. Interrupted again. The interruption is not marked. Another procedure begins. Measurement of facial angle. Instrument adjusted. Angle measured. Number recorded. The manual describes significance. The physician does not copy it. He writes within expected bounds. Expected by whom is not stated. Expectation is institutional. The clerk writes faster now. Familiarity increases efficiency. The page fills. The margin symbols accumulate. They form a pattern. The pattern is not explained here. Elsewhere, similar patterns appear. Those files are grouped under a separate classification. That classification is restricted. Access logs show few readers. One reader appears. Repeatedly. The physician's name matches initials. Elsewhere. This suggests networked activity. The ledger alone does not confirm it. Confirmation requires cross-archive comparison. Such comparison is rare. The system discourages. Synthesis. The physician closes the manual. He writes, sufficient. Sufficiency ends procedures. For now, the clerk adds a note. Await instruction. Instruction comes from above. Above is undefined. Letters arrive irregularly. The ledger records none. Only outcomes. The page ends abruptly. No closing line. No summary. Just the last number. Half-dash written. The pen lifts. Ink fades at the edge. The next page is blank except for a heading penciled lightly. Further observation to be determined. The pencil line stops mid-word. The penciled heading remains faint. Pressure was light. Ink is not used yet. The clerk tests the pen. A small mark in the margin. Discarded. The page is officially blank. This matters procedurally. Blank pages signal pending authority. Authority arrives through correspondence. A packet appears between entries. Thicker than usual. Bound with twine. Untied. Inside. Tables. Printed. Standardized. Issued by a medical board. State. Recognized. The board seal is impressed. Not signed. Unsigned documents circulate freely. The tables list ranges. Age bands. Indices. Margins allow annotation. The physician aligns the ledger beside them. Numbers correspond approximately. Approximately is sufficient. A notation is added. Falls within lower quartile. Quartiles imply population. The population is not defined here. The clerk copies the phrase exactly. Exactness matters more than clarity. The next procedure is scheduled. No date. Just a condition. Upon readiness. Readiness is assessed internally. The subjects reappear in the record. Again, as numbers. Again, sequential. No indication of interval. Growth is assumed to be linear. The calipers are recalibrated. Calibration is checked against a standard rod. Wooden. Worn. The rod's length is marked in ink. Its origin is unknown. It has been used for years. Standards persist without verification. The physician measures again. Forehead, occipital ridge. Tape follows. Palpation was repeated. The clerk notes no deviation. Deviation from what is unstated. The system prefers stability. A new term appears. Written carefully. Normalization. The manual does not contain this word. The tables imply it. Normalization. Suggests adjustment. Adjustment of records. Or of expectations. The ledger does not specify. The physician pauses. He reviews earlier pages. The clerk waits. Waiting is again visible in ink density. The physician draws a bracket around several entries. This bracket spans pages. Brackets imply grouping. Group data travels together. The clerk adds a reference number. The number corresponds to an external file. That file is not present. Its absence is ordinary. The system relies on distributed storage. Distributed storage obscures origin. A letter arrives later. The envelope is opened carefully. No seal this time. Inside. Instructions. Typed. The typeface matches other directives. The issuing office is abbreviated. The abbreviation appears in education records. The letter requests confirmation. Confirmation of consistency, not accuracy. Consistency is easier to certify. The physician writes a response. Short. Affirmative. No data attached. The clerk records dispatch. Date omitted. Omission is allowed for correspondence. The ledger resumes. Another measurement is deferred. This time with a note. External review pending. External reviews are opaque. Outcomes are summarized later, sometimes much later. A stamp appears months afterward. Different ink, different pressure. Approved for reference. Use. Reference. Use implies teaching. Teaching requires curriculum inclusion. No curriculum file is attached. Instead, a notation appears in the education form, not suitable for general instruction. No reason given. Unsuitable material is set aside. Set aside files accumulate. They are stored separately. Storage. Locations change. Catalogs lag behind. The clerk. Initials again. Same initials. Years pass between initials. The hand does not change. The physician's signature appears less often now. Delegation increases. The system continues without him. Final measurement is attempted. The number is written. Then crossed out lightly. Second number replaces it. No explanation. Crossouts are rare. They indicate uncertainty. Uncertainty is minimized. The clerk underlines the replacement. Underlining asserts finality. The ledger approaches its end. Remaining pages are few. The shelf will need a new volume. Requisition. Forms exist for this. They are filed elsewhere. The last loose form is attached. This one bears a different watermark. Federal. Its fields overlap earlier ones. Redundancy. Suggests expansion. The physician fills minimal data, leaves margins blank. Margins are interpreted later. Interpretation shifts with policy. The form is stamped. Received. No signature. The ledger records this receipt. Filed. Filed does not mean resolved. It means stored. A note is added near the end. Written smaller. Case aligns with broader series. Series are not listed here. Elsewhere, series numbers appear. They link estates. They link offices. They link procedures. This linkage is not public. The clerk closes the ledger for the last time. Ribbon is tied. Color indicates completion. Completion refers to documentation, not to the procedure. The shelf receives the volume. It is placed between others. Spacing is adjusted. Dust settles. Years later. An archivist opens it. This is inferred from a pencil mark. Different hand. A note in the margin. Related files restricted. No reference number. Restriction is its own category. The ledger is reshelved. The catalog was updated incompletely. Some entries are misfiled. Misfiling. Delays discovery. Delay reshapes meaning. The final page remains unfinished. Only a heading. Ink was never applied. The heading reads, Subsequent observations to be. The line stops. No further pages are written. The archive does not explain why. It simply ends.